So how are you guys? Today I want to talk about capacitors in mobile phone. What are the different types of capacitors that they use in mobile phones? Generally, capacitors are categorized in two: the polarized and non-polarized capacitors. When it comes to mobile phones, we have ceramic capacitors, or what we can call multi-layer ceramic capacitors. Okay, some older brands had polarized capacitors. For example, if you look to this, if you can see it, this is a capacitor, but it looks different. It is a polarized capacitor. So you can find them specifically in old tech phones, old phones basically. In new mobile phones, we use multi-layer ceramic. They are no multi-layer ceramic capacitors. They are not polarized, they are non-polarized. So let's go ahead and see how we can measure them. But before that, there are different types of capacitors as well. We can talk about the multi-layer ceramic, those ones that we use in modern day phones. We have the titanium, the electrolytics, we have the filling, okay, the polymers, but I'm less concerned about those. I'm only concerned about ceramic capacitors or multi-layer ceramic capacitors. Those are the ones that we see in day-to-day life in mobile phones. So let us go ahead and see how we can measure them. First, put your meter in diode mode. Okay, you put your digital meter in diode mode. Okay, now it's in diode mode. So we go ahead, you always remember, you put your red probe on the ground and the black probe to measure. You use the black probe to measure. So we continue. I put this one. So for this case, this is the ground. I put the red probe there, then I measure. So if you measure, you can get 0.316 millivolts. 0.31 millivolts. The values that you get there, they are not the values of the capacitor. Okay, they are not, it is not the capacitors. So the values you get, they are the values of the line that you are measuring. Okay, so capacitors are open line. They should not measure anything in diode mode. So if you measure and you get 0 ohms, it means the capacitor is shorting. How can you identify? Most times if a capacitor is shorting, you can find it swelling. It swells. You can visually see, but some capacitors you cannot see them. Okay, you can only see them misbehaving, heating up. So if you measure capacitor and it is showing 0 ohm, or it is showing any reading when you are in diode mode, it means it is fault if it is in diode mode. But we can go ahead and check the capacitance, because there are some models that you can find. For example, there are parts in the mobile phone section that are very crucial, that want capacitors. Okay, most especially areas with bigger ceramic capacitors, the light section, the power sections. So if one capacitor misbehaves on a certain line, it may cause trouble. So some phones, for example, which uses LCD technology, you may find it after replacing with a new LCD, the lights keep on flicking. Okay, the lights keep on flicking in a certain way. So most times it is the capacitor or it is the coil. So there are some boost coils, but that will be a lesson for another day. So let us go ahead and see how can you measure the capacitance of ceramic capacitors. So I'll take a new one from my spare box. I have a new capacitor here. So let me take a a smaller capacitor. Let me take a small capacitor. Yeah, let me take a relatively small capacitor, this one. So I will use this one. So be careful not to add this much of them. So I put it here and we measure it. So when the meter is in diode mode, you should not get any reading. So if I measure it like this, sorry. So when I measure it, okay, it's disturbing. It should be open line. It is non-polarized. It doesn't have a positive side or a negative side. Okay. So let us see how to measure its capacitance. So to measure its capacitance, I'll put my digital meter in capacitor measuring section, all farads. Okay. So I go ahead and I measure this one. Okay. So as you can see, it is 0.9 microfarads. Let me pick a bigger capacitor and we see for better comparison. Let me pick a bigger capacitor. Let me put this one back. So let me get a bigger capacitor. So I can use this one. Now we can see this one has okay. Well, let me see here. Okay, let me see how many farads does it have. You can see this one has 9.5 microfarads. It has 9.5 microfarads. I measured a small one, but I did not see very well the results. Let me measure a relatively smaller capacitor, this one. Let me put them both side by side. Okay. Okay, now you see this one. So it is a small capacitor, but it has 100. It has around 100 microfarads. Okay. This one has around. Sorry, it has. Okay. So this one has 9.5 microfarads. So as you can see in polarized capacitors, you may find a big capacitor with less microfarads but can handle high voltages. So it depends. So I just wanted to show you how you can measure the capacitor. So what are the functions of a capacitor? Generally, I will talk about two: filtering or you can talk about filtering. They are used for filtering current. They are used for decoupling. Okay, and capacitors, they can also be used for timing circuits. There are very many functions. Okay, so that is a mobile phone capacitor in general.